On February 4th, 2026 in Peshawar, something important happened. Not loud, not dramatic, but foundational. An Apex committee meeting took place in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and what emerged was not just a press release. It was a shift in how terrorism is understood, confronted, and ultimately defeated. Because for years, we treated terrorism as a security problem, and security problems invite only one kind of solution, that is force. But this meeting acknowledged a deeper truth. Terrorism is not sustained by weapons alone. It is sustained by gaps. Gaps in governance, gaps in services, gaps in trust between the state and its citizens. And that changes everything. At the heart of the communique was a clear message. The state is aligned. Political leadership, civil administration, security institutions, the Pakistan Army, not working in parallel, not competing for space, but standing on the same page. This cohesion matters because fragmented states fight fragmented wars. Aligned institutions, on the other hand, create synchronized responses where policy, operations, and governance reinforce one another instead of cancelling each other out. Equally important was what the strategy did not rely on. Yes, security operations by the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa police and the counter-terrorism department will continue within legal and constitutional frameworks. But force was not presented as the destination. It was presented as the supporting mechanism. The government openly acknowledged that lasting peace cannot be achieved through kinetic action alone. Terrorism thrives where citizens feel alienated, unheard, and unserved. And if those conditions remain intact, violence simply regenerates, no matter how many operations are conducted. This is why the focus on transforming conflict-affected regions into model districts of good governance is central, not cosmetic. Roads, healthcare, education, employment, communications. These are not development buzzwords, they are security tools. Because when the state is visible in schools instead of only at checkpoints, when opportunity replaces desperation, when dignity replaces neglect, the space for militancy collapses. Security in this framework is no longer defined as the absence of violence. It is defined as the presence of opportunity, trust, and hope. Another critical element of this approach is public partnership. The communique calls for cooperation across political parties, community elders, and the federal government. This is not procedural language, it is strategic clarity. Militancy cannot be defeated by institutions acting alone. It requires rebuilding the bond between citizens and the state. When communities become stakeholders in peace, extremism loses its social oxygen. Even the policy on temporary displacement reflects this legitimacy-driven thinking. The state has committed to care, rehabilitation, and dignified return for affected populations, acknowledging that security policies have human costs, and that these costs must be owned, managed, and resolved. Displacement is framed not as abandonment, but as a transition linked to a long-term promise of stability and prosperity. When you step back, a pattern emerges. This is not a checklist, it is a doctrine. Coordinated operations, rule-based institutional conduct, political consensus, governance reform, development delivery, each pillar reinforcing the other. The message is unmistakable. Peace will not be secured only by eliminating militants, but by eliminating the conditions that allow militancy to survive. In that sense, the February 4th Apex Committee meeting was more than just an administrative review. It was the outline of a renewed social contract, a contract where the state pledges protection, services and inclusion, and where society is called upon to stand united against violence. They are now one sustained effort toward lasting peace. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more updates.